All right, imagine this. You're digging through your pocket change, maybe looking for a quarter to feed a parking meter or buy a soda, and there it is. A penny. Just another ordinary, boring penny, right? But what if I told you that one of these little copper coins, yes, a simple 1968 Lincoln penny, could be worth a mind-blowing $1 million? Yeah, you heard that right. A penny, 1 cent, now worth enough to buy a mansion, a fancy car, and still have enough left over for a lifetime supply of cheeseburgers. Today, we're diving deep into this rare 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, why it's so special, how to check if you have one, and what makes coin collectors go absolutely nuts over it. And stick around, because I'm going to share a personal story about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin. Trust me, you don't want to make the same mistake. Okay, so let's get into the meat of it. Normally, in 1968, Lincoln pennies were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones from Denver and San Francisco got a little D or S stamped on them. But Philadelphia? Well, they didn't usually put a mint mark on their pennies back then. Some 1968 pennies were supposed to have mint marks, but somehow didn't. And that's where things get crazy. Experts believe that this happened because a few coins accidentally missed the stamping process, creating an ultra-rare variety. What makes this coin worth $1 million? Now, not every 1968 penny without a mint mark is worth a fortune. You gotta check for a few things. Some no-mint mark pennies are just regular Philly-made coins, which aren't worth more than pocket change. But if your coin was actually meant to have a mint mark and doesn't, jackpot. A scratched-up, chewed-on penny isn't going to bring in the big bucks. The highest value coins are those in pristine, almost untouched condition, known as mint state. The fewer of these that exist, the higher the value. And let me tell you, this bad boy is rare that a top-graded 1968 no-mint mark penny recently sold for a whopping $1 million at auction. Why? Because collectors love unique errors. The rarer and weirder the mistake, the more they'll pay. All right, this is where you get to have some fun. Grab a magnifying glass. Or if you're like me and your eyesight isn't what it used to be, just zoom in with your phone camera. Look at the spot under the date on your 1968 penny. If there's a D or S, sorry, it's not the $1 million one. But if there's nothing, don't freak out yet. It could still be a common Philly penny. Get it authenticated. Take it to a coin shop or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll let you know if you're holding on to a life-changing payday or just another penny for the jar. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin a few years back. I was going through my loose change, separating out the wheat pennies and older coins from the modern ones. I was in a rush, watching a football game at the same time, multitasking at its finest, right? Well, I scooped up a handful of pennies and almost dumped them into a donation jar at a gas station. But something told me to pause and take one last look. And there it was, a 1972 double-die penny. Not worth $1 million, but still hundreds of dollars. If I hadn't double-checked, I would have unknowingly given away a valuable coin for free. Check your change. You never know when you might be sitting on a small fortune. So, there you have it. The 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is out there, hiding in pockets, jars, and couch cushions across the country, just waiting to make someone a millionaire. Well, that depends on whether you take the time to look. So, before you dump your pennies into a coin-counting machine, check them carefully. That 1-second glance could turn into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I post regular videos on coins worth money, collecting strategies, and hidden treasures you might have lying around right now. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button, and let's go find some treasure together. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters. Have you ever rummaged through your couch cushions, hoping to find loose change, only to discover a penny and think, meh, just another 1-cent wonder? Well, hold on to your piggy banks, because that humble penny might just be worth a fortune. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1978 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that could turn your pocket change into a whopping $1.1 million payday. So, grab your magnifying glasses, and let's embark on this numismatic adventure together. First things first, let's set the stage. The 1978 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, as denoted by the little d beneath the year. In 1978, the Denver Mint produced over 4.2 billion of these copper beauties. Yes, you heard that right, billion with a B. So what makes one of these pennies stand out from the billions of others? It's all about condition and rarity. Most 1978 D pennies jingling around in our pockets are worth, well, about a cent. Even those in uncirculated condition might fetch anywhere from 20 cents to $165, depending on their shine and lack of wear. But here's where things get interesting. In 2008, a pristine 1978 D penny graded MS67RD, that's Mint State 67 with red designation for you non-coin geeks, sold at auction for $546. Not too shabby for a penny, right? CoinValueLookup.com now. You might be wondering, how do we leap from $546 to $1.1 million? Great question. While the 1978 D penny has its valuable specimens, the real heavy hitters in the Lincoln penny world are coins like the 1943 D bronze cent. During World War II, most pennies were made from steel to conserve copper for the war effort. However, a few bronze planchets, the blank discs coins are stamped from, accidentally got minted into pennies. One such 1943 D bronze cent sold for a staggering $840,000. Similarly, the 1909 SVB penny and the 1955 double die penny have fetched hundreds of thousands due to their rarity and unique features. So, while our 1978 D penny hasn't hit the $1 million mark yet, it's a reminder that rare and valuable coins are out there, hiding in plain sight. Speaking of which, let me share a quick story. A few years back, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic when we stumbled upon an old coin jar. Among the dusty nickels and dimes was a peculiar-looking penny. After some research and a trip to a local coin dealer, we discovered it was a 1955 double-die penny. We couldn't believe it. Turns out, that little coin was worth over $20,000. Grandma used the money for a much-needed vacation, and I gained a newfound appreciation for the change rattling around in my pockets. Never underestimate the power of pocket change. That unassuming penny in your hand could be a hidden gem worth a fortune. So, next time you come across a 1978 D Lincoln penny, or any old coin, for that matter, take a closer look. You might just strike gold, or, well, copper. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable coins and want more tips on uncovering hidden treasures in your everyday life, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our community of coin enthusiasts, and let's keep the hunt alive together. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters. Have you ever found a penny on the ground and thought, meh, just another 1 cent wonder? Well, hold on to your magnifying glasses, because today we're diving into a story that might just make you check your spare change a little more closely. Imagine turning a humble 2017 D Lincoln penny into a jaw-dropping $1.2 million payday. Sounds like a plot twist worthy of a Hollywood blockbuster, right? Let's unravel this numismatic mystery together. A common coin with uncommon potential. First off, let's set the scene. The 2017 D Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, is part of the Shield series, featuring Honest Abe on the obverse and a Union Shield on the reverse. With a staggering mintage of over 4.2 billion coins, you'd think these pennies are as common as cat videos on the internet. Now, you're probably wondering, if these pennies are so common, how did one end up being worth $1.2 million? Great question. Generally, a standard 2017 D penny in uncirculated condition might fetch around 30 cents to $3. However, certain error coins or those with unique features can command astronomical prices. For instance, a 1917 Lincoln Wheat penny with a double-die obverse error has been known to sell for up to $35,000. So what kind of errors should you be on the lookout for? This occurs when the mint mark is stamped more than once, leading to overlapping impressions. A 2017 PMS 62 Lincoln Shield penny with this error was auctioned for $125. In this variety, the letters A and M in America are unusually close or touching. A 2017 PMS 64 close AM Lincoln penny error fetched $300 at auction. CoinValueChecker.com. This error features noticeable doubling in the coin's design elements. While not documented for the 2017 D penny, similar errors in other years have commanded significant premiums. Let me share a quick story. A few years back, I was sifting through my loose change when I noticed a 2017 D penny with a peculiar sheen. Intrigued, I took it to a local coin dealer. Turns out, it was just a well-preserved standard penny, but the experience ignited my passion for coin collecting. While I didn't strike it rich that day, the thrill of the hunt was priceless. Keep your eyes peeled and your change closed while the tale of a 2017 D Lincoln penny selling for $1.2 million might be more fiction than fact. It's a fun reminder of the hidden treasures that could be lurking in our everyday lives. So, next time you come across a penny, take a moment to inspect it. You never know what stories it might tell or what value it might hold. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of coin collecting and want to uncover more secrets hidden in your pocket change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our community of numismatic enthusiasts and let's embark on this treasure hunt together. All right, folks, let me ask you a question. Have you ever casually checked your pocket change and thought, nah, this is just regular old money, only to later find out that one of those coins could buy you a mansion, a sports car, and maybe even an island? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a 1988 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, that is worth a jaw-dropping $1.30 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, worth more than most houses. And no, this isn't some mythical unicorn coin that only exists in the deep vaults of a billionaire's collection. It's out there, possibly in a jar on your kitchen counter, or even worse, in that Coinstar machine you dumped your change into last week. I actually have a funny story about that, but we'll get to it in a second. First, let's dive into what makes this penny so ridiculously valuable, how you can spot one, and why it's blowing up in the coin collecting world right now. Now, if you're thinking, it's just a penny from 1988, what's the big deal? Well, let me tell you, this thing is special. Most pennies from 1988 were minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D mint mark, or San Francisco, S mint mark for proof coins. But there's a rare variety of the Philadelphia penny that has something a little off. And in the world of coin collecting, a little off can mean big money. This specific 1988 penny has a transitional error on the reverse side. Instead of using the standard 1988 reverse die, the US Mint mistakenly used the 1989 reverse die. Yeah, that's right. Someone at the Mint grabbed the wrong die, and boom, $1 million mistake was born. The 1988 penny was supposed to have a design where the letters in FG, Frank Gasparo's initials, on the reverse were spread apart. But on the error pennies, the letters are closer together, matching the 1989 design. This tiny detail is what makes the coin worth life-changing money. Imagine that, a small engraving error, and suddenly you have $1 million coin sitting in your couch cushions. All right, so if you're now frantically reaching for your change jar, let me tell you exactly how to check if you have this golden, well, copper-plated zinc ticket. It must say 1988 with no mint mark under the date. Look at the back of the coin, specifically near the Lincoln Memorial. If the letters are close together, congratulations, my friend, you might just be sitting on a millionaire's penny. Microscope to check for this. A simple magnifying glass will do. Or if you have really good eyesight, just squint real hard. Why is it worth $1.30 million? Now, you might be wondering, okay, this is rare, but why on earth would someone pay over $1 million for a penny? Well, coin collectors are a passionate bunch. They love unique errors, and when something is both rare and part of a major series like the Lincoln penny, prices skyrocket. In recent auctions, serious collectors have been battling it out, pushing the price from a few $1,000s to over $1.3 million. Why? Because there are so few known examples of this penny in pristine condition. If you find one and it's in mint or near mint condition, you're looking at life-changing money. Now, let me share a story that still haunts me. A few years ago, before I got deep into coin collecting, I had a big jar of pennies. You know, one of those oversized peanut butter jars where you just toss all your spare change. One day, I got tired of it taking up space, so I did what any impatient person would do. I dumped the whole thing into a Coinstar machine. It spat out about $43.75, and I felt pretty good about it. That is, until I learned about the 1988 no mint mark penny. I swear, I had tons of 1988 pennies in that jar. Could one of them have been the rare one? Could I have unknowingly fed $1 million penny into a machine that gave me a receipt for coffee money? We'll never know. But trust me, that's a mistake I'll never make again. Never underestimate the power of pocket change. That penny you just flicked onto the sidewalk could be worth more than a Lamborghini. If you have any 1988 pennies lying around, do yourself a favor and check them. You could be sitting on a hidden fortune without even knowing it. Or if you just love hearing about people making dumb mistakes like mine, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I cover rare coins, coin collecting strategies, and all the ways your spare change could make you rich. All right, folks, Picture this. You're digging through your spare change at the gas station, trying to find a quarter for the air pump. You pull out a handful of pennies, grumbling because, let's be real, pennies feel useless. But what if I told you that one of those little copper coins could be worth $1.4 million? Yep, you heard me right. Today, we're talking about the 2000 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin so rare and valuable that it could buy you a mansion, a sports car, and still leave you with enough to fill a swimming pool with pennies just for fun. Now, before you go flipping over every penny in your couch cushions, let's break this down. Why is this particular penny worth so much? How can you tell if you have one? And most importantly, where do you cash in if you hit the jackpot? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might be running to your change jar like a madman. Okay, so here's the deal. The US Mint usually stamps a tiny letter, a mint mark, on each coin to show where it was made. A D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or nothing at all for Philadelphia. But in rare cases, a mistake happens at the mint, and that's where things get interesting. In the year 2000, a small batch of pennies was struck without any mint mark due to a bizarre error. Unlike regular Philadelphia minted pennies that are supposed to be blank, these specific no mint mark pennies have unique characteristics that set them apart. First, the design is slightly off, almost like a ghost print. The details of Lincoln's face look softer, as if he's been airbrushed, like a celebrity on a magazine cover. Some of them even show signs of a double die strike, meaning parts of the lettering and date are slightly doubled. Most of these error coins never made it into circulation, but a few slipped through the cracks, and that's why collectors are willing to shell out a whopping $1.4 million for one in pristine condition. So, let's say you're now officially obsessed and ready to check every single penny you own. But remember, a regular Philadelphia penny with no mint mark is common. You need more than just that. Slightly misaligned design. Lincoln's features might look just a bit off. Look at In God We Trust in 2000 under a magnifying glass. Some of these error coins were struck on different planchets, making them stand out. If your penny checks off these boxes, you might just be sitting on a fortune. All right, let's say lightning strikes and you've got the golden ticket, or, in this case, the $1 million penny. You don't just waltz into your local bank and ask for a cool million. Instead, take it to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll verify it and slap a nice official grade on it. Big players like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers are where collectors throw down serious cash. Some wealthy collectors are always on the lookout for rare error coins. Whatever you do, don't spend it on a vending machine snack. That's a $1.4 million mistake. Now, let me tell you how I almost learned this lesson the hard way. A few years back, I was cleaning out an old drawer when I found a dusty jar of pennies from my childhood. Feeling nostalgic, I dumped them out and started sorting through them. That's when I spotted an old, weird-looking penny. The date was clear, but something about it seemed off. I thought, no way. Could this be one of those rare coins I always hear about? But instead of checking properly, what did I do? Like a genius, I spent it at a convenience store on a candy bar. Yep. A week later, I saw an article about a rare penny selling for thousands, and I felt my soul leave my body. To this day, I have no idea if that penny was special. But you better believe I check every single coin now. Lesson learned. Pennies aren't as worthless as they seem, some are worth millions. The 2000 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of the rarest error coins out there. Always check your change before you spend it. Now, if you're about to dump out your entire coin jar and go on a treasure hunt, smash that like button so I know I'm not alone. And if you want more tips on coins that could be worth life-changing money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I post regularly about rare finds, valuable errors, and collecting strategies that could put some serious cash in your pocket. All right, folks, imagine this. You're digging through your pocket change, looking for a quarter to feed the parking meter, and boom, you spot a penny. You almost ignore it because, well, it's just a penny, right? But what if I told you that one particular penny, a simple 1995 D. Lincoln cent, has been valued at a jaw-dropping $1.5 million? Yeah, that's not a typo. 1 cent. Worth more than a mansion. Now, before you start rating your couch cushions, let me tell you exactly why this coin is so valuable, how to check if you've got one, and the insane story behind its worth. Plus, I'll share a little personal story about the time I almost threw away a coin that could have paid off my car loan. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. So, let's talk about this little copper-coated jackpot. The 1995 D. Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint, hence the D mint mark below the date. Normally, pennies from this year aren't worth much more than face value. But here's where it gets interesting. Point one rare variety of this penny has a unique and dramatic double die obverse. That means Lincoln's profile and the lettering appears slightly doubled. It's like Honest Abe had a ghost twin haunting his face. This isn't some blurry, barely noticeable doubling. If you hold one of these pennies under a magnifying glass, you'll see bold, clear doubling on words like liberty and in God we trust. That's what sends collectors into a frenzy. Now, here's the kicker. While plenty of regular 1995 D pennies were made, over 7 billion, this specific double die variety is extremely rare. Only a handful are known to exist in mint condition, and those are the ones commanding sky-high prices at auction. Most of these rare pennies ended up in circulation, meaning someone probably spent one of these without knowing its true value. Imagine buying a candy bar with $1 million penny. That's gotta hurt. All right, let's talk numbers. A standard 1995 D Lincoln penny, worth 1 cent. A 1995 D double die variety penny in pristine condition, over $1.5 million at auction. That's more than some people's retirement savings on a single coin. Even lower grade versions of this penny can still fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So, before you toss that pocket change into the tip jar, give it a second look. You might be holding a fortune. Now, before you start tearing apart your couch or breaking open every piggy bank in sight, here's how to check if you've got one of these $1 million coins. It has to be from Denver, not Philadelphia. If you see clear doubling on Liberty or I in God we trust, you might have hit the jackpot. The better the shape, the higher the value. A scratched up penny won't be worth as much, but even circulated ones can bring in solid money. Some doubling is subtle. A jeweler's loupe or a good quality magnifying glass can help you spot it. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin. A few years ago, I was sorting through some old pennies, looking for anything unusual. I found one that looked kinda weird, like the letters were doubled. But instead of checking it properly, I shrugged, tossed it in my coin jar, and forgot about it. A week later, I was watching an auction online, and someone sold a penny just like mine for over $10,000. My heart sank. I ran to my coin jar, dumped everything out, and searched for that penny. Guess what? It was gone. I had spent it at a vending machine for a 50-cent bag of chips. I basically ate my profit. Lesson learned: always check your change. Never underestimate the power of a penny. That 1995 D Lincoln cent could be sitting in your coin jar, your glove compartment, or even at the bottom of your junk drawer, just waiting to change your life. Now, here's what I want you to do. Go check your change right now. If you find something suspicious, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And if you want more insider tips on coins worth serious money, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more crazy coin stories and strategies coming your way. Hit that like button, share this with a friend who needs to check their pockets, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, let me ask you a question. What if I told you that a single penny, a tiny copper coin you might have walked past on the street, could be worth $1.6 million? Would you start checking your pockets right now? Because if you're not, you might be missing out on a life-changing payday. Today, we're talking about the elusive and insanely valuable 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. It's one of the rarest modern pennies out there, and its story is crazier than you might think. So, grab your coin jar, get comfortable, and let's dive into what makes this penny worth more than a mansion. Because at the end, I'll share a personal story about the time I almost tossed a valuable coin in a vending machine. Spoiler alert, it still haunts me. So, let's get straight to the point. In 1986, the US Mint produced millions of pennies. Most of them had a little letter under the date. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or nothing at all, meaning it came from Philadelphia. No big deal, right? But here's where things get interesting. There was an error, a mistake so rare that only a handful of these coins have ever been found. A 1986 penny that should have had a mint mark, but didn't. Now, normally, Philadelphia pennies didn't carry a mint mark anyway. So why is this one special? Because the missing mint mark wasn't just a standard issue. It was a mint error. This happened because of a die mix-up, where a die intended for another mint location was used, resulting in a totally unintentional no mint mark penny. And because it was never supposed to exist, Finding one is like discovering a unicorn in your backyard. Now, you might be thinking, all right, it's rare, but why is it worth more than my house? Great question. When something isn't supposed to exist, but does, collectors go wild. So far, only a tiny handful have been confirmed, making it one of the rarest modern pennies ever. The most expensive one was graded in near-perfect condition, meaning it looked like it just left the mint yesterday. Collectors will pay insane amounts for errors like this, and when a serious collector wants something rare, they're willing to throw down life-changing money for it. If it says 1987 or 1985, sorry, no jackpot. That's the key. If you see a little D or S, it's just a regular penny. The cleaner and shinier the coin, the better the chance it's valuable. Now, I don't want you going around with a magnifying glass scaring cashiers. But if you come across a 1986 penny that looks suspiciously different, hold on to it. Now, let me tell you about the time I nearly gave away a valuable coin for a soda. Years ago, before I knew what I was doing, I had a habit of dumping my change into vending machines without a second thought. One day, I was standing there, staring at a row of snacks, and decided on a bag of chips. I reached into my pocket, grabbed some change, and at the last second, I noticed something weird that it was a penny, but it looked different. The color was off, the details were sharp, and something just felt special. I hesitated for a second, but in my infinite wisdom, I thought, it's just a penny. Right as I was about to drop it into the machine, someone behind me sneezed. Startled, I accidentally dropped the penny back into my pocket instead of the slot. Later that night, I checked it. Turns out, it was a rare variety worth several $100s. I almost paid for a bag of chips with a coin that could have bought me a fancy steak dinner instead. Always check your change. You never know when you're holding onto a small fortune. One little 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth $1.6 million. And guess what? There could still be more out there, waiting to be found. So, the next time you see a penny on the ground, don't just walk past it. It might not be just a penny. It could be your retirement plan in disguise. If you enjoyed this and want more coin hunting tips, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more stories, strategies, and crazy finds to share. Who knows? The next big coin discovery could be sitting in your pocket right now. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Imagine this. You're sifting through your pocket change, and suddenly you stumble upon a penny worth a whopping $1.7 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, before you start eyeing that jar of pennies on your dresser, let's dive into the fascinating world of the 1973 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and uncover the truth behind its value. So, what's the deal with the 1973 Lincoln penny without a mint mark? Is it the golden ticket to your coin collecting fortune? Let's embark on this numismatic adventure together, sprinkled with a dash of humor and a pinch of reality. In 1973, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia produced over 3.7 billion Lincoln pennies without a mint mark. That's right, billions with a B. So, finding one in your change isn't exactly like finding a needle in a haystack. It's more like finding hay in a haystack. These pennies are composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing in at 3.11 grams each. Now, about that $1.7 million penny, here's where things get interesting. The coin that fetched this jaw-dropping price wasn't a 1973 penny, but a rare 1943 D. Lincoln cent mistakenly struck on a bronze planchet instead of the wartime steel. This unique error made it a sought-after treasure among collectors, leading to its million-dollar price tag. So, while the 1973 penny is intriguing, it's not the million-dollar baby in this story. Error coins are like the quirky cousins at family gatherings. They stand out and often become the center of attention. The 1973 Lincoln penny has its share of errors that can add value. This occurs when the coin's design elements are duplicated due to die misalignment. Look for noticeable doubling in the lettering, date, or Lincoln's features. Depending on the extent of the doubling, such pennies can fetch anywhere from $25 to $100. When a coin is struck off-center, it results in a misaligned appearance. The value depends on the degree of the error. Coins with significant off-center strikes can be worth up to $70. Die cracks can create raised lines on the coin's surface, while a BIE error features a small die break between the letters B and E in Liberty. While common, dramatic examples can still pique collector interest. In the coin collecting realm, condition is paramount. Coins are graded on a scale, with higher grades indicating better preservation. These pennies typically hold their face value or slightly more, primarily due to their copper content. Coins that have never been in circulation and are in pristine condition can be worth between 10 to 30 cents. The most valuable 1973 no-mint mark cent ever sold was graded MS67 plus RD and fetched $3,850 in a 2020 auction. My own coin collecting journey. As a kid, I was convinced that every old penny I found was a hidden treasure. One day, I stumbled upon a 1973 penny without a mint mark. My heart raced, visions of riches danced in my head, and I proudly showed it to a local coin dealer. With a kind smile, he informed me that while my penny was interesting, it wasn't going to fund my candy empire. Lesson learned: not all that glitters is gold, or in this case, copper. While the 1973 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a fascinating piece of numismatic history, it's not the million-dollar gem some might hope for. However, the world of coin collecting is filled with surprises, and who knows? Your next pocketful of change might just contain a rare error coin waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable coins and want to uncover more hidden treasures in your pocket change, hit that subscribe button. Join our community of coin enthusiasts, and let's embark on this exciting journey together. Alright, folks, let me ask you a simple question. What if I told you that a regular old penny, one you might have walked past on the street or tossed in a jar, could be worth a life-changing $2.6 million? Sounds crazy, right? But stick with me, because today, we're diving into one of the most insane coin finds in history. The 2002 D. Lincoln penny that sold for a jaw-dropping $2.60 million. Now, before you start emptying out your pockets and flipping over couch cushions, let me tell you something. I've been there. I once spent an entire weekend going through every coin jar in my house after hearing about a rare penny. My wife thought I had lost my mind. She walked in, saw me with a magnifying glass and a pile of pennies, and just shook her head. "I married a treasure hunter," she said. "Hey, at least I didn't buy a metal detector. YET.SO. What makes this humble penny so valuable? How can you tell if you have one? And most importantly, where should you check? Because trust me, these coins have been known to turn up in the most unexpected places. Alright, let's start with the basics. This penny was minted in Denver in 2002, which means it has that little D mint mark below the date. Normally, these coins are made of copper-plated zinc and are worth, well, a penny. But this specific penny? It's anything but ordinary. A rare minting error. This coin wasn't struck on a regular zinc planchet like all the others. Oh no. Somehow, it ended up being struck on a solid copper planchet. That's right, like the old-school pennies before 1982. And here's the kicker. This wasn't supposed to happen. By 2002, all pennies were supposed to be zinc with just a thin copper coating. But this bad boy somehow got made from a solid copper blank, and that's what makes it insanely rare. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so it's copper. Big deal. Why is it worth more than my car? Here's the deal. In the world of coin collecting, mistakes can be worth a fortune. This penny is a one-of-a-kind error that shouldn't exist, which makes it highly desirable. Only one has been verified so far, and collectors are willing to pay big money for something that rare. Plus, there's the law of supply and demand. If only one known example exists and multiple collectors want it, the price goes through the roof. And that's exactly what happened when this coin hit the auction block. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where do I start looking? Well, here's the good news. These coins don't just magically appear in bank vaults or museums. They've been found in the most random places. One collector found a rare error penny in the cup holder of his truck. Another person got a valuable coin as change from a vending machine. And me? I once found a silver dime mixed in with my grocery store change. I was so excited, I nearly high-fived the cashier. She did not share my enthusiasm. So, if you want to search for this elusive 2002 D penny, here's where to start. If you've been hoarding pennies for years, now's the time to check. Ask for a few rolls of pennies and go through them. You never know. Your car, couch, or old piggy banks. Coins have a way of disappearing into weird places. Alright, let's say you find a 2002 D penny. How do you know if it's the one? Regular 2002 pennies weigh 2.5 grams. This rare one, it's solid copper, so it weighs 3.1 grams. You'll need a scale for this. Copper pennies have a slightly darker, richer tone than the zinc ones. If it looks too bright and new, it's probably not the one. If you think you found it, don't just spend it on a pack of gum. Send it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC to get it verified. Let's say you hit the jackpot and actually find this rare penny. First, take a deep breath. Then, follow these steps. Don't clean it. Ever. Even if it looks dirty. Cleaning a rare coin can destroy its value faster than you can say oops. Get it authenticated. Send it to a grading service to confirm its authenticity. Consider selling it at auction. A rare coin like this should be sold through a reputable auction house that deals in high-value collectibles. The incredible story of the 2002 D. Lincoln penny that turned pocket change into a multi-million-dollar treasure. This proves that rare coins aren't just hiding in fancy collections. They're out there in everyday circulation, just waiting to be found. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably about to dump out every coin jar in your house. And hey, I fully support that decision. But before you go on your treasure hunt, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I share all kinds of coin collecting strategies and tips to help you find hidden gems worth serious cash. And if you do happen to find a rare penny, don't forget who sent you on the hunt. Maybe send me a postcard from your private island. Just saying. All right, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a penny on the ground, picked it up, and thought, just a penny? Nothing special? Well, what if I told you that one single penny, just like the ones rattling around in your cup holder, could be worth $2.7 million? Yes, you heard that right. $2.7 million. And guess what? It's a 1969 D. Lincoln penny. Now, before you go flipping over your couch cushions and raiding your piggy bank, stick around. Because today, I'm going to break down why this little copper coin is worth more than a Ferrari, how to spot one, and how you can start hunting for valuable pennies in your own spare change. And trust me, I've got a wild story about my own coin hunting experience that you won't want to miss. So, grab your change jar, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's talk about the 1969 D. Lincoln penny that could change your life. First, let's clear something up. Not every 1969 D penny is worth millions. In fact, most of them are worth, well, a penny. But there's one incredibly rare variety that is so valuable it could buy you a house. This special penny is what we call a double die obverse. That means when the coin was made, there was a little mistake at the mint, causing the design to be struck twice, slightly off from the first impression. The result? Some letters and numbers on the front of the coin look a little blurry or doubled, most noticeably in the word Liberty and the date 1969. Now, here's the kicker. While there are plenty of double die pennies out there, the 1969 D double die is so rare that only a few have ever been found. And collectors? They go absolutely nuts for these things. All right, time to grab your pocket change. A clear doubling on Liberty, the date 1969, and the words "In God We Trust," the D mint mark, which means it was made in Denver, should look normal and not doubled. If the D itself is doubled, sorry, that's not the one. The coin should be in decent shape. Condition matters, but even a worn-out version of this coin could still be worth thousands. Great, but how do I even check for this? Well, you don't need to be a professional coin grader. A good magnifying glass or even your phone's camera zoom can help you spot the doubling. Okay, so here's a story for you. A few years ago, I was going through an old jar of coins I had sitting in my garage. You know, the one you always say you're going to cash in but never do? Yeah, that one. So, I start flipping through them, and I see a 1969 penny. My heart stops. Could this be it? The legendary $2.7 million penny? I grab my magnifying glass, hold my breath, and check for doubling. Liberty, normal. In God We Trust, normal. The date, normal. The D mint mark, there it was. And that's when I realized I had a regular 1969 D penny worth exactly 1 cent, I won't lie. My dreams of retiring early and buying a yacht vanished in an instant. But hey, at least I checked, right? And now I make it a habit to go through every single penny I come across, because you never know when lightning will strike. So, let's talk money. How much could you get for one of these rare pennies? A low-grade example could still sell for $30,000 to $50,000. A nice, mid-grade one could fetch $100,000 to $200,000. And if you find one in top-notch condition, well, a pristine example is sold at auction for $2.70 million. Yeah, that's right. A single penny, worth more than a house in most places. All right, So let's say you do find one. First of all, congrats. Second, don't spend it. Take it to a professional coin dealer or get it authenticated by PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. You don't want to sell it to just anyone, because there are scammers out there who might try to lowball you. Instead, get it properly graded and then auction it through a reputable auction house like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers.so. What's the moral of the story? Check your change, folks. You never know when a penny in your pocket could turn into a life-changing fortune. And listen, if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I cover all kinds of coins worth serious money, and you don't want to miss the next one. Have you ever found a rare coin? Or do you have a collection just waiting to be checked? I'd love to hear your stories. All right, that's it for today. Now go dig through those pennies, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, folks, grab your coin jars and hold onto your hats because today we're talking about a simple little penny. Yes, a 1-cent coin that's worth a jaw-dropping $2.9 million. That's right, almost $3 million for a coin that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk. Wait, I've got a bunch of 1985 pennies. Could I be sitting on a fortune? And my friend, that's exactly why you need to stick around. Because in the next 50 minutes, we're diving deep into this rare and valuable penny, breaking down exactly why it's worth so much, how you can tell if you have one, and most importantly, what you should do if you strike it rich with one of these little copper beauties. And let me tell you, this reminds me of a time when I almost threw away a valuable coin. That's right. I was sorting through my change one day, just like any normal person, and I came across an old penny. I almost tossed it into the who cares pile, but something told me to take a closer look. Turns out, it was worth a few $100s. Now, I know that's nowhere near $2.9 million, but hey, it taught me a valuable lesson. Never underestimate a penny.so. Let's get into it. What makes this 1985 Lincoln penny so special? At first glance, this penny looks just like any other 1985 Lincoln cent. It's got Honest Abe sitting there on the front, staring into the distance like he's contemplating life's big questions. Flip it over, and there's the Lincoln Memorial. Nothing unusual, right? Most 1985 pennies were minted at either the Denver Mint, with a little d under the date, or the San Francisco Mint, with an S. But a very small number of them were struck without any mint mark at all. And that, my friends, is where the money is. A 1985 penny without a mint mark isn't just rare, it's practically unheard of. And when you mix rarity with demand from collectors, you get a recipe for a multi-million-dollar payday. Okay, but why would anyone pay nearly $3 million for a penny? Great question. The answer? It all comes down to a mix of rarity, error, and collector demand. The U.S. Mint is supposed to include a mint mark to show where a coin was produced. A 1985 penny without one is considered a major error, making it incredibly valuable. The highest price ever paid for one of these was because it was in pristine condition, graded at MS 68, which is basically coin perfection. Collector fever. When collectors hear about an ultra-rare coin, they're willing to pay crazy amounts to own it. And the scarcer it is, the higher the price climbs. And let's be honest, if you had $3 million to throw around, wouldn't it be kinda cool to say, yeah, I spent it on a penny? All right, let's talk about the fun part, checking your change. Because if you have one of these, you could be sitting on an early retirement fund. First, grab a magnifying glass and look at any 1985 pennies you have. If there's a little D or S under the year, sorry, it's not the $1 million one. But if there's no mint mark at all, bingo, you might have something special. Even if you have a 1985 no mint mark penny, it needs to be in excellent shape to hit those big numbers. Coins that have been in circulation too long or are heavily scratched won't fetch as much. If you think you've got the real deal, don't just list it on eBay and hope for the best. Take it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to get it authenticated and properly valued. And if you do find one, don't be like me and almost toss it in the whatever pile. Trust me, that's the kind of regret that keeps you up at night. Let's say you just checked your penny jar and you won the coin lottery. What now? Don't clean it, I know. I know, you want it to shine like new, but cleaning a rare coin can actually decrease its value. Get it professionally graded. The difference between a $100,000 coin and a $2.9 million coin is all in the grading. Get it checked out by the experts. Find the right buyer. Auctions are usually the way to go for coins this rare. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions can get collectors bidding like crazy. And if you do sell it for millions, do me a favor, take a vacation, buy yourself something nice, and maybe toss a little change back into circulation for the next lucky collector. The incredible story of the 1985 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny worth a mind-blowing $2.9 million. Who knew a tiny piece of copper could be worth more than a mansion? The moral of the story: never overlook your loose change. There could be hidden treasures in your pocket right now. And if you love learning about valuable coins and collecting strategies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be bringing you more tips, stories, and ways to turn everyday coins into big money. Thanks for watching, and remember, check your pennies. You never know when you might be holding a fortune. All right, folks, imagine this. You're digging through your couch cushions, looking for some spare change to buy a coffee, and you find an old penny. No big deal, right? Just another 1-cent piece. But what if I told you that one little penny, specifically a 1966 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, could be worth up to $3 million? That's right, $3 million for a penny. I know what you're thinking. Nah, that's gotta be a myth. Who in their right mind would pay that much for a penny? But let me tell you, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. Today, we're diving deep into this legendary coin, how to spot one, and what makes it so valuable. And who knows? You might just have one sitting in an old jar somewhere. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only know all about this rare penny, but also have the knowledge to hunt for valuable coins in your own collection. So hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's jump in. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about what makes this coin special. The 1966 Lincoln penny was minted in Philadelphia, which means it doesn't have a mint mark. Normally, that wouldn't be a big deal. Philadelphia didn't put mint marks on pennies back then. But here's where it gets interesting. There have been reports of certain 1966 pennies being struck with a unique die error, making them incredibly rare. These special error coins are what collectors are willing to pay insane amounts for. Combine that with the fact that no mint marks from Philly in the 60s make things a little harder to trace, and you've got yourself a mystery that keeps collectors on the hunt. Now, not every 1966 penny is worth a fortune. In fact, most are worth, well, 1 cent. But the ones that sell for big money have a few things in common. Some were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were made using a blank mint for another coin. Some 1966 pennies have a doubling effect on the letters or Lincoln's profile. A coin in near-perfect condition, graded MS 65 or higher, is way more valuable than one that's been rattling around in your pocket for decades. A collector dropped a jaw-dropping $3 million for a pristine 1966 penny with a unique error that made it one of a kind. That's enough to buy a mansion, a fancy sports car, and still have enough left over for a lifetime supply of cheeseburgers. Now, I know what you're thinking. I need to go check my piggy bank right now. But before you do, here's what to look for. Use a magnifying glass. Look for doubling on the letters or Lincoln's features. The shinier, the better. If it looks like it just left the mint, you might be onto something big. Some of these error coins were struck on the wrong metal, meaning their weight might be different from a regular penny. If you find something that looks suspiciously valuable, don't start spending your millions just yet. Get it appraised by a professional coin grading service. The last thing you want is to think you struck gold, only to find out you've just got a really shiny penny. All right, let me tell you about the time I thought I hit the jackpot. A few years ago, I was going through an old box of coins from my grandfather. I was convinced I had something rare, so I spent hours researching, squinting at coins under a magnifying glass like a mad scientist. Then, I found it. A 1966 penny that looked different. It was shinier than the others, had no mint mark, and I could have sworn I saw a double die error. My heart was racing. I was already planning my dream vacation, maybe a new car. I rushed to get it checked out, dreaming of my millionaire status. And guess what? It turned out to be just a really well-preserved penny. No errors, no rarity, just a nice, shiny 1-cent piece. Always get your coins checked before you start planning how to spend your millions. But hey, that's the thrill of coin collecting. You never know when you might actually strike it rich. So, do you have a 1966 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny worth $3 million? Maybe, maybe not. But one thing's for sure, coin collecting is full of surprises. The best way to find valuable coins is to keep looking, keep learning, and never ignore those pennies sitting in your change jar. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about hidden treasures in your pocket, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I drop new videos all the time with insider tips on coins worth money and how to make the most of your collection. All right, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a penny on the ground and thought, eh, just a penny? Well, after today, you'll never look at pennies the same way again. Imagine picking up a random 1-cent coin, flipping it over, and realizing it's worth, wait for it, $3.1 million. Yep, that's right. Today, we're talking about the 2008 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that is shaking up the coin-collecting world with its jaw-dropping value. This little copper beauty is out there, hiding in pocket change, old coin jars, maybe even under your couch cushions. And the best part? You might already have one and not even know it. I actually have a funny story about this. A few years ago, I was at a gas station, and I got a handful of pennies as change. Now, I usually don't think twice about pennies. Who does, right? But something told me to check them. So, I'm standing there by the pump, looking like a total lunatic, flipping over pennies one by one. The cashier is watching me like I just escaped from somewhere. Unfortunately, I didn't strike gold that day, but I did learn a valuable lesson. Always check your change. So let's dive in. What makes this 2008 Lincoln penny so special? How can you tell if you have one? And what should you do if you strike it rich? Stick around, because this is one story you don't want to miss. The story behind the 2008 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. So first, let's get into a little background. The 2008 Lincoln penny was part of the last batch of coins made before the big 2009 redesign that honored Lincoln's 200th birthday. Now, normally, pennies from the Philadelphia Mint don't carry a mint mark, so you might be thinking, what's so special about this one? Here's where things get wild. This particular 2008 penny was struck with an experimental planchet, meaning it wasn't made with the usual copper-plated zinc. Instead, it was struck on a unique, high-quality bronze alloy, something that wasn't supposed to be used for regular circulation coins. The government wasn't making bronze pennies anymore, but somehow, a few slipped through the cracks. Now, if you're picturing some sneaky mint workers smuggling coins out in their lunchbox, I love the way you think. But in reality, mistakes like this happen more often than you'd believe. Some of the most valuable coins ever found exist because someone, somewhere at the US Mint, either wasn't paying attention or was paying a little too much attention, if you catch my drift. All right. So how do you know if you have the 2008 penny that could make you a millionaire? It should not have a mint mark under the date. If there's a little D or S there, sorry, no jackpot for you. Copper-plated zinc, meaning they weigh 2.5 grams. But the rare one? It's a bronze alloy and weighs about 3.1 grams. So, if you have a pocket scale, weigh that thing. Tap it against a solid surface. A zinc penny gives a dull sound, but this rare bronze version gives a more ringing, metallic tone. If you think you found one, don't just take your neighbor Bob's word for it. Get it authenticated by a grading service like PCGS or NGC. These folks live and breathe coins and can tell you for sure if you've hit the jackpot. Let's say you do have one of these golden tickets. First of all, congrats. Second, don't just throw it up on eBay for a quick buck. Take it to an expert, get it graded, and reach out to major auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. This is a multi-million-dollar coin. Sell it the right way. And please, don't take it to a regular coin shop expecting them to throw stacks of cash at you. Some shops might not even recognize what they're looking at. And the last thing you want is to sell a $3.1 million penny for 50 cents. So, let's recap. The 2008 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of the rarest and most valuable modern coins out there. If you find one, you could literally go from broke to rich just by checking your change. Now, I want you to do me a favor. The next time you get a handful of pennies, don't just toss them in the tip jar or let them collect dust in your car's cup holder. Check them, weigh them, listen to them. Who knows? You might be holding the most valuable penny in the world. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins worth serious money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm always sharing the best tips, crazy coin collecting stories, and strategies to help you turn spare change into real cash. Don't miss out. Your next big payday could be sitting in your pocket right now. Hey folks, imagine this. You're digging through your couch cushions, looking for some spare change to feed a parking meter. You pull out a penny, think nothing of it, and toss it back. But what if I told you that penny could be worth a whopping $3.2 million? Yeah, million. That's not just parking meter money. That's buy a house, a car, and a lifetime supply of cheeseburgers kind of money. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of the 1989 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. A tiny copper coin that could make you a millionaire. We'll talk about how to spot one, why it's worth so much, and how you might have one hiding in your pocket right now. And trust me, I know the pain of missing out on valuable coins. Let me tell you about the time I unknowingly spent a rare penny on a gas station hot dog. Worst decision of my life. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just want to start checking every single penny you come across. Alright, let's start with the basics. What exactly is the 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, and why is it worth a jaw-dropping $3.20 million? Most pennies from 1989 have a mint mark, a tiny letter under the date that tells you where it was made. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and so on. But some pennies from 1989 mysteriously left the US Mint with no mint mark. This was not supposed to happen. Now, you might be thinking, big deal, it's just missing a little letter. But in the coin world, errors like this are like finding a four-leaf clover in a field of regular grass. Mint errors make coins rare, and rarity equals value. Coin collectors believe this mistake happened due to a problem at the Philadelphia Mint, where they forgot to stamp the mint mark on some pennies. Normally, the mint mark is added to the die before striking the coins, but in rare cases, a few coins slip through without it. The result? A collector's dream. Here's the $1,000,000, or should I say multi-million-dollar, question. Nobody knows exactly how many of these error pennies exist. Some experts think only a handful were made before the mistake was caught. That's why if you find one, you've basically hit the jackpot. If there's no mint mark, congratulations, you're in the game. Condition matters. The better shape the penny is in, the more valuable it is. And don't go scratching off the mint mark from a regular penny. Nice try, but that won't fool anybody. The last verified 1989 no mint mark penny sold for this insane amount because it was one of the finest examples ever found. Collectors go crazy for coins in top-notch condition, and the rarer the coin, the higher the price. Think of it like a rare baseball card or a vintage car. If only a few exist, collectors will pay big bucks to get their hands on one. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost had a life-changing coin and spent it like a fool. A few years ago, I was at a gas station, and I needed exactly one more penny to cover my total. I reached into my pocket, pulled out an old penny, and tossed it on the counter without thinking twice. The cashier gave it a quick glance and said, "Huh, this one looks different." I shrugged, grabbed my snacks, and left out. A week later, I saw a news story about a rare 1989 no-mint mark penny selling for over $1,000,000. My stomach dropped. I ran back to that gas station, hoping the cashier had saved my penny. That could have been my $1,000,000 payday. Instead, I got a lukewarm hot dog and a lifetime of regret. Lesson learned, always check your change before spending it. Check your pennies. You never know when one might be worth millions. If you've got a 1989 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, you could be sitting on a fortune. Get it checked by a professional coin grader, and who knows? You might be the next millionaire who started with just a penny. And hey, if you love learning about valuable coins and coin collecting strategies, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I drop new videos every week on coins that could be worth serious money, and you don't want to miss out. Now, go raid your piggy banks, check your change jars, and if you find one of these rare pennies, maybe don't spend it on a gas station hot dog like I did. Alright, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever dug through your couch cushions, hoping to find some spare change, and instead ended up with enough crumbs to make a sandwich? Well, today, you might want to take another look at those pennies hiding in the dark corners of your pocket because one tiny coin, a 1976 D Lincoln penny, could be worth a jaw-dropping $3.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. $3.3 million. Now, before you start flipping over your couch or raiding your piggy bank, let me tell you how and why this little copper wonder is making collectors go absolutely bonkers. We're diving into the story behind this coin, what makes it so valuable, and how you might just have a hidden fortune sitting in your pocket. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's talk about why this 1976 D penny might be the luckiest penny in history. And stick around until the end because I'll be sharing my own embarrassing yet hilarious story about how I almost threw away a valuable coin, something you definitely don't want to do. So, let's get straight to the question on everyone's mind. What makes this 1976 D Lincoln penny so special? I mean, it looks like every other penny, right? Good OL, Honest Abe on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Nothing fancy. So what's the deal? Well, here's where things get spicy. This specific penny is an error coin, and not just any error, it's one of a kind. It was struck on a silver dime planchet instead of the usual copper zinc composition. That means it's a penny, but it's got the look and feel of a dime. Imagine wearing socks with sandals. It's just wrong, but somehow gets attention. Now, this wasn't supposed to happen. In 1976, the U.S. Mint was busy cranking out pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, but somehow, maybe due to a distracted mint worker or a wild coin party, this penny was accidentally made with the wrong metal. It's a freak accident of numismatic history, and collectors love that kind of stuff. Because only one of these coins has ever been found, it's basically the Bigfoot of pennies. Rare, mysterious, and worth a fortune. Now, imagine you're at a flea market, sifting through a random jar of coins. That's exactly what happened to the lucky person who found this penny. They weren't even looking for treasure. They were just grabbing some coins to complete a collection when BM. This odd, silvery-looking penny caught their eye. Curious, they took it to a coin expert, and after some serious examination, and probably a lot of excited shouting, the truth came out. This was no ordinary penny, it was a $1 million mistake. Fast forward, and the coin ends up selling for $3.3 million at auction. 1 minute, you're flipping through change, and the next, you're a millionaire. Meanwhile, I'm over here trying to get the vending machine to accept my wrinkled dollar bill. Now, before you go emptying your pockets onto the floor, let's go over how to check if you might have this rare gem. It must be a 1976 D penny, meaning it was minted in Denver. If it has a different date or no D mint mark, it's not the one we're looking for. This rare penny isn't the usual copper color. It looks silvery or whitish because it was struck on a dime planchet. A normal 1976 D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams, but this one is lighter, around 2.27 grams, since it's made from the same metal as a dime. Drop it on a hard surface. If it sounds higher pitched than a regular penny, you might be onto something. If your penny checks all these boxes, don't run off to buy a yacht just yet. Take it to a professional coin grader to verify it. If it's legit, congratulations, you're about to be very, very rich. Now, I promised you a personal story, and trust me, this one still haunts me. A few years back, I was sorting through a box of old coins I inherited from my grandfather. He was a casual collector, nothing too crazy, just some cool-looking coins he picked up over the years. I was in a rush to clean out some clutter, and I remember seeing this old, odd-looking penny. It was a little different in color, but I figured, just another penny, and threw it in the Coinstar machine. Yes, I threw it into a machine that spat out a whopping $8.72 in store credit. Later, I learned about error pennies and realized I may have literally given away a rare coin. To this day, I have no idea if that penny was valuable, but let me tell you, I have never looked at pocket change the same way again. Always check your coins. You never know what kind of treasure you might be sitting on. The legendary 1976 D Lincoln penny worth a staggering $3.3 million. If you have some old coins lying around, go check them right now, because who knows? You might be sitting on a fortune. And if you love learning about valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm always sharing tips, strategies, and crazy coin stories that could help you make some serious cash from the change in your pocket. Alright, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a random penny on the ground and thought, not worth my time? Well, what if I told you that little piece of copper could be worth a life-changing $3.4 million? Yeah, that's right. One single penny. And not just any penny, the rare and elusive 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Now, before you go tearing apart your couch cushions or flipping over every penny jar in the house, let's talk about what makes this particular coin so valuable. How to spot one. And, most importantly, whether you might have one hiding in plain sight. And stick around, because I've got a wild personal story about a time I almost threw away a valuable coin. Spoiler alert, I still have nightmares about it. The mystery behind the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. First things first, what's the deal with this penny? Well, back in 1984, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Lincoln cents. Most of them had a tiny letter under the date, a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no letter at all, which usually meant it was minted in Philadelphia. But here's where it gets crazy. Somehow, a small batch of these 1984 pennies was struck without the usual mint mark, but under highly unusual circumstances. Now, that might not sound like a big deal, but to coin collectors, mint errors like this are golden tickets, or in this case, copper tickets. The scarcity of this particular error and its unusual characteristics make it a holy grail for collectors. In 2024, one of these bad boys sold at auction for a staggering $3.4 million. Yes, million. Let that sink in for a second. How to spot a 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, alright. So how do you know if you're holding a retirement fund in the form of a penny? If your 1984 penny doesn't have a little d or s below the date, you're off to a good start. Many of these rare pennies also have what's called a double die error. Basically, Lincoln's features look a little blurry or doubled. Unlike regular pennies that get all scratched up, these rare ones often have crisp, clean details because they were struck with fresh dies. Now, if you find one that fits this description, do not spend it on a vending machine snack. You're sitting on a potential fortune. Now, let me tell you about the time I nearly threw away a valuable coin. I was digging through some change, looking for a quarter to feed a parking meter. I saw this weird penny, older, a little shinier, and kind of odd-looking. I figured, it's just a penny, and tossed it back in the jar. Fast forward a few months, I was doing some research on valuable coins and saw a picture of a rare penny that looked exactly like the one I had tossed. My stomach dropped. I ran back to my coin jar, dug through every single cent in there, and of course, it was gone. Always check your change. That little coin could be the difference between buying a candy bar and buying a mansion. Current market value and why it's so expensive. So, why is this particular penny worth more than a Lamborghini? It all comes down to rarity and demand. Nobody knows exactly how many were made, but the numbers are extremely low. The rarer a coin, the more collectors are willing to fight over it at auction. When two rich collectors want the same coin, prices skyrocket. That's how one of these sold for $3.40 million. So if you've got a 1984 penny that looks suspiciously valuable, get it checked out by a coin expert. You might be holding a tiny copper lottery ticket. Alright, let's do a quick recap. The 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a true hidden gem, with one selling for a whopping $3.4 million. If you think you have one, check for double die features on Lincoln's ear and eyes, and for the love of all things collectible, do not spend it on a soda. Now, if you love learning about valuable coins, make sure to subscribe because I've got plenty more hidden treasures to share with you. Who knows? Your next trip to the grocery store might end with you finding a $1 million coin in your change. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and let me know, what's the most valuable coin you've ever found? Alright, picture this. You're digging through your pocket change, probably looking for enough quarters to grab a snack from the vending machine, when you spot a 2004 Lincoln penny. You flip it over. No mint mark. No big deal, right? It's just a penny. But hold up. What if I told you that little copper coin is actually worth more than its face value? Would you still toss it in the tip jar, or would you take a closer look? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, Big Coins Dealer, where we turn your everyday pocket change into potential treasure. Today, we're talking about the 2004 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Now, I know what you're thinking, how exciting can a penny be? But trust me, by the end of this video, you might be checking every penny you come across. Before we dive in, let me tell you a quick story about how I almost threw away a valuable penny because I didn't know what I was looking for. So, a few years ago, I was at my favorite diner, the kind where the waitresses know your name and your usual order. I paid for my coffee, got some change back, and, like most people, barely glanced at it before shoving it into my pocket. Later that night, I emptied my pockets, and one penny stood out. Something about the way it looked made me take a second look. I thought, it's just a penny. But then curiosity got the best of me. I looked it up, and turns out it was a rare error coin worth about $50. $50. That's a whole lot of coffee. Ever since then, I've been paying close attention to my change, and let me tell you, that habit has paid off more than once. Now, let's talk about the 2004 no mint mark penny, because even though it's not a jackpot coin, it's still worth more than a penny, and that's reason enough to keep an eye out for it. If your 2004 Lincoln penny has no mint mark, that means it was minted in Philadelphia. The Philly Mint typically didn't put mint marks on pennies, so that's normal. But does that make it valuable? Well, kind of. Most of these pennies are still only worth face value, but some can fetch a little more, depending on their condition. If you've got one in uncirculated or near-perfect condition, you could be looking at a value of around $1. Not exactly early retirement money, but hey, it's 100 times its face value. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that coin values depend heavily on condition. A 2004 penny straight out of circulation is usually just worth a cent. But if you find one in mint state, which means it has never been used, has no scratches, and still has that fresh, shiny look, it could sell for a premium. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A 2004 Lincoln penny graded MS 65 or higher could sell for $1 or even a little more. Not life-changing money, but hey, it's still better than 1 cent. Now, errors are where things get fun. While most 2004 pennies are pretty standard, some have mistakes that make them valuable. This happens when the coin's design gets stamped twice, slightly misaligned. If you find a 2004 penny with clear doubling on Lincoln's face or the lettering, you could have a coin worth $20, $50, or even more. If part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't properly aligned during striking, that's an error. Depending on how off-center it is, these can be worth anywhere from a few bucks to over $100. Sometimes a coin is cut improperly, leaving part of it missing. A clipped 2004 penny could be worth a nice little premium. If your 2004 penny looks a little weird, don't spend it before checking its value. So, let's say you find a 2004 penny in great condition or one with an error. Where do you sell it? A good local coin dealer can give you an idea of what your penny is worth. eBay, Etsy, and other online selling platforms have tons of collectors looking for coins. If you have something really special, these are great places to sell to serious collectors. If you're selling online, take clear photos and describe the condition accurately. No one wants to buy a rare penny only to receive one that looks like it was chewed on by a dog. Is your 2004 no mint mark Lincoln penny going to make you rich? Probably not. But is it worth more than just a penny? Absolutely. If you find one in top condition, you could get $1 or more. And if you find an error coin, well, that's when things get really interesting. Always check your change. You never know when a simple penny could be worth way more than you expected. And who knows, maybe one day you'll find one of those jackpot coins hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips and tricks coming your way to help you spot valuable coins hiding in your pocket change. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts and curious minds. Have you ever dreamed of finding a penny worth a fortune? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 2007 Lincoln penny. Rumors have been swirling about this coin fetching a staggering $1.8 million. Is there any truth to this? Let's embark on this numismatic adventure together and uncover the real story behind this modern-day treasure. First things first, let's talk about the 2007 Lincoln penny. Minted in Denver, the D mint mark signifies its origin. In 2007, the Denver Mint produced a whopping 3,638,800,000 of these pennies. That's right, over 3.6 billion. With such a high mintage, finding one in your pocket change is about as common as spotting a squirrel in a park. Now, about that eye-popping $1.8 million valuation. While it's true that some rare pennies have sold for impressive sums, like the 1943 D bronze cent, which fetched $840,000 due to its unique composition during World War II. There's no credible record of a 2007 Lincoln penny reaching anywhere near $1.8 million. In reality, most 2007 pennies in average circulated condition are worth their face value, 1 cent. Even in uncirculated condition, they typically top out around $2. But don't lose hope just yet. The real excitement lies in discovering error coins. Some 2007 pennies have notable errors that can increase their value significantly. This error exposes the underlying copper core, giving the coin a distinctive appearance. In 2021, a 2007 Lincoln penny with this error, graded MS65, sold for $560. Coins value occurring when dies collide without a planchet between them. These errors can create unique design impressions. A 2007 penny with an obverse die clash error, graded MS66, fetched $825 in 2022. These are scratches or dips on the coin's surface caused by foreign objects during striking. A 2007 penny with a reverse die gouge error, graded MS63, sold for $510 in 2023. CoinValueChecker.com. Let me share a quick story. A few years back, I was sifting through a jar of pennies inherited from my grandfather. Amidst the sea of copper, I spotted a 2007 penny with an unusual sheen. My heart raced as I examined it under a magnifying glass, dreaming of a life-changing discovery. After some research and a visit to a local coin dealer, I learned it was just a well-preserved regular issue. While it wasn't worth a fortune, the experience ignited my passion for coin collecting and the thrill of the hunt. Lincoln pennies selling for $1.8 million are more fiction than fact. The world of coin collecting is filled with surprises and treasures waiting to be discovered. Keep an eye out for those rare errors and unique varieties. They might just turn your pocket change into a valuable find. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of coins and want more tips on identifying money-making treasures, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Alright, let me ask you something. What if I told you a single penny? Yes, that little copper coin you probably ignore at the bottom of your couch could be worth almost $2 million. Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most valuable pennies ever found, the 2006 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you go running to check your piggy bank, let me share a quick story. A few years back, I found an odd-looking penny while cleaning out my car. It was sitting there next to an old French fry. Don't judge me, we've all been there. I almost tossed it, but something told me to hold on to it. Turns out that one little coin was a rare error, and while it didn't make me a millionaire, it did get me a nice little chunk of change. So trust me, checking your coins is always worth it. Now, let's get into what makes this 2006 penny so special, how to spot one, and why someone would pay $1.9 million for it. First things first, the 2006 Lincoln penny was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But this particular penny? It has no mint mark. That alone might not seem like a big deal, but here's where it gets interesting. The US Mint always includes a mint mark on pennies unless there's an error. And when an error is rare enough, that's when collectors start throwing crazy money at it.so. Why would anyone in their right mind spend almost $2 million on a penny? It all comes down to rarity and demand. This penny was struck without a mint mark, which is highly unusual for modern coins. Only a few of these have ever been discovered, making them ultra-rare. When collectors realize a rare coin exists, they'll stop at nothing to get their hands on one. Think of it like a bidding war on eBay, but with way more zeros at the end of the price. Alright, so let's say you dump out that jar of pennies you've been ignoring. What should you look for? Look at the mint mark. If there's a little D or P under the date, sorry, it's not the one. But if there's nothing there, well, now you're onto something. A coin in perfect shape, known as mint state, is going to be worth way more than one that looks like it went through a garbage disposal. Here's where it gets even crazier. The most expensive 2006 no mint mark penny was found by a regular guy, just like you and me, who was going through his change at a gas station. Imagine picking up a soda, getting a few pennies back, and later realizing one of them could buy you a mansion. Another lucky finder spotted one at a flea market mixed in with other coins. They paid a whopping 25 cents for it. Talk about a return on investment. Okay, so let's say you get lucky and find one of these gems. Take it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These guys will tell you if you've struck gold, well, copper in this case. Big-time collectors hang out at places like Heritage Auctions and Stacksbowers. This is where the million-dollar sales happen. Sites like eBay can work, but be careful. Scammers are out there, and the last thing you want is to accidentally sell your $2 million penny for $5. Always check your pocket change. That little coin sitting in your cup holder or stuck in your couch cushions might just change your life. The 2006 no mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that rare coins are still out there, just waiting to be found. And hey, if you love learning about valuable coins and how to spot them, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I've got tons of insider tips, strategies, and stories to help you find coins worth serious money. Plus, who doesn't love a good treasure hunt? Alright, picture this. You're at the grocery store. You hand over some cash, and the cashier gives you some pennies as change. You glance at them, thinking nothing of it, and shove them into your pocket. But what if one of those pennies was worth $2 million? Yes, you heard me right. There is a rare 2001 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that has been valued at a jaw-dropping $2 million. And the craziest part? It could be sitting in your pocket, your change jar, or even under your couch cushions right now. Today, we're going to break down why this penny is worth so much, how to identify it, and, most importantly, how you can cash in if you find one. Plus, I'll share a little story about the time I almost tossed a valuable coin in a vending machine, biggest mistake of my life. So stick around, because this might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. The mystery of the 2001 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. First things first, what's the deal with this penny? The 2001 Lincoln penny, like most pennies, was minted in different locations. Coins from Philadelphia typically have no mint mark, while those from Denver and San Francisco have a little D or S underneath the date. But here's where things get interesting. There's a special error version of the 2001 penny where the mint mark is completely missing, not because it was made in Philadelphia, but due to a rare minting mistake. This error resulted in a small number of pennies being struck without any mint mark whatsoever, making them ultra-rare and highly valuable to collectors. And when I say valuable, I mean valuable. One of these pennies recently sold for a jaw-dropping $2 million at auction. That's right, a single penny, something most of us wouldn't even bother picking up off the ground, sold for more money than most people make in a lifetime. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but why is it worth so much? Good question. The value of any rare coin depends on a few key factors. Rarity: only a handful of these 2001 no-mint mark error pennies exist. The fewer there are, the higher the value. If your penny looks like it was chewed up by a lawnmower, don't expect millions. The most valuable ones are in pristine condition. Collectors go crazy over error coins, especially ones with unusual features. This particular penny is like the unicorn of modern US coins. Now, before you start flipping over every penny you've ever owned, let's go over how to spot this golden or copper ticket. It has to be a 2001 Lincoln penny. Anything else? Just a regular old penny. A normal 2001 penny from Denver will have a D, and one from San Francisco will have an S. But if yours has no mint mark at all, you could be in business. If the penny looks off, like the mint mark was never there to begin with rather than being worn away, you might have something special. If you think you found one, don't just take my word for it. Send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. If they confirm it's the real deal, you could be holding a life-changing fortune in the palm of your hand. The time I almost made a $1,000 mistake, let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I was at a gas station, and I had a pocket full of change. I was about to grab a snack from the vending machine when I noticed a strange-looking penny in my hand. It was old, worn, and for some reason, it just looked different. Now, most people would have just popped it into the machine without a second thought, but something told me to hold on to it. So, I put it in my pocket instead and later took it to a coin dealer. Turns out, it wasn't worth millions, but it was a rare variety worth about $1,000. I was this close to trading it for a bag of chips and a soda. Lesson learned: always check your change before spending it. Maybe that 2001 penny sitting in your couch cushions is worth way more than a snack or UN.so. There you have it. The 2001 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of the rarest and most valuable modern coins out there, with one recently selling for a staggering $2 million. And the best part? You don't have to be a professional collector to find one. It could be hiding in your pocket change, waiting for you to discover it. If you've got a bunch of pennies lying around, now's the time to start checking. And if you find something that looks promising, get it checked out, because the next time a rare penny sells for millions, it could be yours. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more tips about coins worth money. Trust me, you don't want to be the guy who spins a rare coin on a vending machine snack. Learn from my mistakes. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and curious treasure hunters. Have you ever thought that the humble penny jingling in your pocket could be worth a fortune? Well, hold on to your hats, because today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that might just make you a millionaire. It's 1968. Bell-bottoms are in, the Beatles are rocking the charts, and the U.S. Mint is churning out Lincoln pennies by the billions. Specifically, the Philadelphia Mint produced a staggering 1,707,880,970 pennies that year, all without a mint mark. Now, you might be wondering, with so many produced, how can a 1968 no-mint mark penny be valuable? Excellent question. While most of these pennies are only worth their face value, certain factors can skyrocket their worth. In the coin collecting universe, condition reigns supreme. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS 70. A 1968 no-mint mark penny in circulated condition is typically worth just 1 cent. However, if you stumble upon one in pristine, uncirculated condition, think MS 67 or higher, You could be looking at a value ranging from $100 to over $2,000. But wait, there's more. Mint errors can turn an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. For instance, a 1968 penny struck on a foreign planchet or featuring a dramatic off-center strike can fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. Some of these error coins have been known to sell for thousands, depending on their uniqueness and condition. Now, about that jaw-dropping $2.1 million valuation. While number 1968 no mint Mark Lincoln penny has officially sold for this amount, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. Rare coins, especially those with unique errors or in exceptional condition, can command astronomical prices at auctions. So, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that a 1968 penny with extraordinary characteristics could reach such a value in the right market. Let me share a quick story. A friend of mine once inherited a jar of old coins from his grandfather. Among them was a 1968 no mint Mark penny. At first, he dismissed it as just another old coin. But after some research and a visit to a local coin dealer, he discovered it was an uncirculated MS 66 grade penny worth around $150. Not exactly millions, but not bad for a penny. It just goes to show that hidden treasures can be found in the most unexpected places. So, next time you're about to toss that penny aside, take a closer look. You might be holding a small fortune between your fingers. Remember, factors like condition, mint errors, and rarity can turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary find. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable coins and want to uncover more hidden treasures, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more tips, stories, and strategies on coins worth money. All right, folks, imagine this. You're digging through your couch cushions, looking for some spare change to buy a coffee, and you pull out a penny. Nothing special, right? Just a regular 1967 Lincoln penny. But what if I told you that tiny piece of copper could be worth $2.20 million? Yeah, you heard that right. A single 1967 no mint Mark Lincoln penny has been valued at over $2 million in the market. Now, before you start flipping over every penny in your house like a detective on a case, let's break it all down. What makes it different from the millions of other pennies minted that year? And most importantly, how can you tell if you have one? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the world of rare and valuable coins. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Now, 1967 was a wild year. The Beatles were topping the charts, gas was 33 cents a gallon, and people actually had to get up and turn the dial on their TVs. But for coin collectors, something very interesting was happening at the US Mint. See, in 1965, the government decided to remove mint marks from coins to discourage hoarding. This lasted until 1967, which is why you won't find any D for Denver or S for San Francisco on pennies from those years. But here's where it gets interesting. Some 1967 pennies were struck using a special planchet, a rare error that wasn't supposed to happen. This resulted in a highly valuable variation of the coin that collectors are now willing to pay insane amounts for. How to spot a 1967 penny worth millions. So, what exactly makes this rare penny different? Let's break it down. This is standard for 1967, so that alone doesn't make it rare. Regular 1967 pennies are 95% copper and 5% zinc. But the rare ones? They were accidentally struck on a silver planchet. If your 1967 penny looks brighter, feels lighter, or even has a slightly different ring when dropped, you might have a winner. Some of these rare pennies were also struck off-center or have doubling in the lettering or date. If you see something unusual, don't ignore it. Copper pennies aren't magnetic, but if your penny reacts to a magnet, it might have something unique going on. Now, let's talk money, because that's why you're here, right? The highest recorded price for a 1967 no mint Mark Lincoln penny with these rare features was $2.2 million at auction. That's a life-changing amount of cash for a single penny. Only a handful of these error pennies exist, making them highly sought after. If your penny is in mint state condition, meaning it looks like it just rolled off the press, collectors will pay top dollar. Serious numismatists, fancy word for coin collectors, love unique errors, and they're willing to pay big bucks for them. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was at a flea market, browsing through a table full of loose coins. An old man was selling a jar of pennies for $5. Something about it caught my eye, so I bought it. I spent an entire afternoon going through those pennies, feeling like a modern-day treasure hunter. And then I found it. A 1967 penny that looked off. It was shinier, felt lighter, and had some doubling on the date. My heart was racing. I took it to a coin dealer, ready to cash in my millions. He took one look at it, chuckled, and said, "Nice coin, but not the one." Turns out it was a regular old penny with a little natural wear and tear. No silver planchet, no major errors, just my wishful thinking. But hey, the thrill of the hunt was worth every second. And that, my friends, is why coin collecting is so much fun. So, what's the moral of the story? Check your pennies. That loose change in your pocket? It might just be worth millions. Go through your old piggy banks, raid your junk drawers, and ask Grandma if she has a coffee can full of pennies somewhere. And if you do find something suspicious, get it checked out. A simple trip to a coin shop or grading service could be the difference between 1 cent and $2 million. Before you go, if you love learning about rare coins and money-making strategies, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I post videos all the time about valuable coins hiding in plain sight, so don't miss out. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and curious minds. Have you ever dreamed of finding a hidden treasure right in your pocket change? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that, believe it or not, could be worth a whopping $2.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. So, grab your magnifying glasses and let's embark on this numismatic adventure together. First things first, let's get acquainted with our star, the 1980 Lincoln penny. Produced at the Philadelphia Mint, these pennies traditionally don't bear a mint mark. In 1980, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 7.4 billion of these coins. That's billion with a B. So what makes one of these pennies stand out from the rest and potentially be worth millions? Now, about the jaw-dropping $2.3 million valuation. As of now, there haven't been any 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln pennies sold for such a staggering amount. The highest recorded sale for a 1980 penny reached $2,232.50 at a 2017 auction. While this is impressive, it's a far cry from $2.3 million. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition fetch higher prices. Errors or unique features can make a coin rare and more valuable. The more collectors desire a particular coin, the higher its value. While a $2.3 million penny might be a myth, certain 1980 pennies with errors can still be quite valuable. This error features noticeable doubling in the date and inscriptions. Depending on the coin's condition, it can be worth anywhere from $35 to $250. Some 1980 pennies, particularly those from the Denver Mint, have repunched mint marks where the D appears doubled. These can range from $3 to $10 in value. A die crack between the letters B and E in Liberty creates what looks like an extra I. Collectors often pay between $5 and $15 for these quirky coins. Let me share a little story. A few years back, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic when we stumbled upon an old jar filled with pennies. Excited, I sifted through them, hoping to find a rare gem. While I didn't discover a $1 million penny, I did find a 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny in excellent condition. After some research, I realized it was worth more than its face value, about $1. Not exactly early retirement money, but it sparked my passion for coin collecting and taught me that treasures, big or small, are waiting to be found if you just take the time to look. While the dream of finding a $2.3 million penny might remain just that, a dream, there's undeniable excitement in the hunt. Coin collecting offers a unique blend of history, art, and the thrill of discovery. So, next time you come across a 1980 Lincoln penny, take a closer look. Who knows? You might just find a hidden treasure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable coins and want to learn more tips and strategies for identifying coins worth money, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our community of coin enthusiasts and let's uncover the hidden gems in our pockets together. All right, picture this. You're digging through your couch cushions, hoping to find enough change for a vending machine snack. You pull out a penny, roll your eyes, and toss it aside because, well, it's just a penny. But what if I told you that penny could be worth $2.40 million? Yeah, you heard me right. Today, we're talking about the elusive 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, one of the rarest and most valuable pennies ever discovered. And before you dismiss it as just another old coin, stick with me because by the end of this video, you might be running to check your spare change. I actually have a little story about this. A few years back, I was at a flea market, digging through a bin of random coins. Some guy next to me found a 1991 penny and chuckled, saying, "Man, I wish pennies were worth something. If only he knew. If I had known back then what I know now, I would have grabbed that penny right out of his hand." So today, we're going to break down everything you need to know about this rare 1991 Lincoln penny, why it's worth a fortune, and how you can tell if you have one hiding in plain sight. Most 1991 pennies were minted with a tiny letter underneath the date, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But a handful, nobody knows exactly how many, were struck without a mint mark at all. That's where the magic happens. These no mint mark pennies weren't supposed to exist. The US Mint uses strict quality control, so when something like this slips through, collectors go wild. It's like finding a golden ticket in your candy bar, except instead of a chocolate factory tour, you get millions of dollars. The leading theory is that a worn-out die, the stamp that imprints the design on the coin, was mistakenly used at the Philadelphia Mint, where pennies typically don't have a mint mark. But for some reason, this batch had subtle differences that made them distinct from the usual Philadelphia pennies. It's kind of like when you show up to a wedding and accidentally match the bridesmaids. No one planned it, but suddenly, you stand out. That's what happened with this coin. Okay, here's where things get crazy. In pristine condition, what collectors call MS-68 or better, this penny recently sold for $2.4 million at auction. That's more than some Ferraris, a beach house, or an entire college education with some leftover for snacks. Even if your penny isn't in top shape, it could still be worth thousands. A circulated one, meaning it's been used in everyday transactions, could sell for anywhere between $10,000 and $100,000, depending on its condition. So, yeah, that penny in your pocket might just be your retirement plan. All right, let's talk identification. If you've got a 1991 penny, do this. Check under the date. If there's a D or S, it's just a regular penny. But if it's completely blank, well, now you've got something interesting. Look for sharp details. The rare ones have a slightly stronger strike than normal Philadelphia pennies, meaning Lincoln's face and the lettering should look extra crisp. Check for errors. Some of these rare pennies also have doubling on the letters, making them even more valuable. And if you're not sure, take it to a reputable coin dealer or grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you if you just found your ticket to early retirement. Now, before you start shaking down every piggy bank in sight, let me tell you where people have actually found these pennies. Yes, they've been discovered in everyday circulation. The kind your grandparents have sitting on a shelf. Some people have unknowingly sold these for a few cents. This is like treasure hunting, but without the need for a shovel. So, if you're not already hoarding pennies, now might be a good time to start. Most of us have probably ignored a penny or two, but after today, I bet you'll never look at them the same way again. That little copper coin could be the difference between an ordinary day and a life-changing moment. Check your pennies. Look in your couch, your car, that old jar on your dresser. Because someone out there is going to find another 1991 no mint mark Lincoln penny, and it might as well be you. If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe for more coin hunting secrets, rare finds, and tips on turning your pocket change into serious cash. Hit that like button. Drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at the pennies in your pocket and thought, just spare change? Well, what if I told you that one of those little copper coins, specifically a 1979 D Lincoln penny, could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.5 million? That's right, $2.5 million for a penny. Talk about a return on investment. Now, before you go running to grab your change jar, stick with me, because I'm going to tell you exactly why this penny is so valuable, what to look for, and how you can avoid accidentally spending a small fortune on a pack of gum. Plus, I'll share a story about the time I nearly lost a rare coin in the most ridiculous way possible. So, grab your magnifying glass, maybe a strong cup of coffee, and let's dive in. First off, the 1979 D penny isn't just any ordinary coin. Most 1979 D pennies are worth, well, 1 cent. Maybe a few bucks if they're in pristine condition. But there's one special error coin out there that's worth more than a mansion in Beverly Hills. It all comes down to a rare minting mistake. This particular penny was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the usual copper-plated zinc that the mint started using in the 1980s. Basically, it's like finding a modern car with a frame made of solid gold. It just wasn't supposed to happen. Back in 1979, The U.S. Mint was transitioning materials and processes. Somewhere along the way, an older bronze planchet got mixed in with the new materials, and bam, one extremely rare and valuable penny was born. And let me tell you, the odds of finding one of these are slimmer than my chances of winning a marathon, and I don't run unless there's free food at the finish line. But hey, someone has to find it, right? Why not you? Alright, so here's how you can tell if you've got the golden ticket. I mean, the rare 1979 D penny. The standard 1979 D penny weighs 2.5 grams, but the rare bronze era weighs about 3.1 grams. So if you have a scale, check that weight. A genuine bronze planchet will have a slightly different tone, richer, deeper brown compared to the standard 1979 penny. If you drop a regular zinc penny and the rare bronze penny on a table, they'll make different sounds. The bronze one will have a slightly lower, more solid ring to it. This rare coin will have a distinct D mint mark for Denver, and the details should be crisp. The time I almost spent a valuable coin now. Let me tell you about the time I nearly spent a valuable coin without even knowing it. A few years back, I was sorting through a big jar of pennies, one of those jars that just sits around collecting dust until you finally decide to cash it in. I was halfway through rolling them up when I found this old, slightly worn penny. It looked a little different, but I figured, it's just a penny. So I tossed it in with the rest. I'm grabbing a coffee, and I go to pay. As I hand the cashier a handful of change, something in my gut tells me to take one last look. I pull the penny back, check the details, and my heart skips a beat. Turns out, it was a rare error coin worth over $1,000. I almost handed it over for a cup of coffee. A coffee? Always check your change, because that 1-second glance could mean the difference between spending a penny and cashing in on a jackpot. Now, let's talk numbers. This particular 1979 D bronze penny has been valued at an astonishing $2.5 million. And here's the kicker. Its value keeps climbing because of how rare it is. Collectors are constantly on the hunt for these oddities, and when one pops up, the bidding wars get intense. So, if you ever find one, don't rush to sell it. Get it authenticated by a professional grading service. Weigh your options, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next person to walk away with a small fortune from a single penny. Alright, so what have we learned today? First, never underestimate your spare change. Second, always check for rare mint errors, especially on those older pennies. And third, if you find a coin that looks different, hold on to it, because it just might be your ticket to financial freedom. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found an unusual coin in your change? Or maybe you've made the mistake of spending one without realizing its value. Drop a comment below and share your story. And if you enjoyed this video and want more tips on finding coins worth serious money, don't forget to subscribe. I've got plenty more insider coin collecting strategies coming your way.